Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler, and I know this is supposed to be a white pill video for Friday, and I guess it kind of is. There's some good things that are happening. It's just very much we're in this time frame of it's the calm before the storm, and this is gonna go on probably. I would say 9 months or so, maybe longer. Who knows? I'm of course thinking about global economic macro factors going on in the background, but in thinking about that, I'm also thinking about the ramifications of those macro factors. You know, you've got the effect in the political side that will be of course, more government spending and so on and so forth. You know how it goes when the economy goes down the drain. At this point, it's rinse and repeat. We are looking at the beginnings of, say, something on the scale of 2008. It's hard to tell, and I've been saying this for a while, but you know, it's still there in the background. It's still growing, and it hasn't gone nowhere. Um, you know, but there are some interesting things going on, as mentioned earlier in the week. I think so, when I was talking about Pierre, and was it? I think it was specific. Yeah, I was in that Pierre video about his election, about him pretty much being in the same relative position in the election of being under hot water, not being able to adapt. I think Pierre may become the new dweeb that is Andrew Scheer for the Conservative Party, which is really funny. Like, if he loses this safe seat because his team is really moronic, and I mean that, I would agree that at this point we'd have to say that Pierre, the candidate himself, is really, really stupid, and I want to see him flounder, just out of pure spite, nothing more. You know, I am an asshole at heart, so seeing him be a floundering political fish and dead in the water is quite funny and amusing, and the German word Schadenfreude comes to mind, because, well, when you're dealing with such a two-faced lying little shit like Pierre, you know, speaking out both sides of his mouth at the same time to two different parties, or yeah, two different parties, but saying, you know, trying to say, hey, I'm really on your side. No, I'm really on your side. Like, it's him getting his comeuppance would be hilarious. Now, he may still win. I do not know the riding that well. I don't live anywhere near the riding in Alberta, seeing as I'm in southern Ontario. So we'll have to see. But it'll depend on who's on the ballot and how well they are at campaigning and who they target. They can find the right target audience with the right message, which Pierre seems not to be doing too well, because everybody, now that he's in campaign mode, is coming out of the woodwork being like, dude, you fucked up, bro. We have soured on you because you are shit at your job. We kind of did a reflection. You have not. So, like, he may break a record for either A, losing an extremely safe conservative seat, or barely fucking winning that seat, is how it may break down, which is, you know, that's funny. The provinces, Alberta and Ontario, are working together to get pipelines together. Now, obviously, they need federal approval and such for those pipelines, and as I said, Carney is going to have to approve at least one pipeline. I think it's going to. I now think it's going to be more than one. I think there will be 1 to 2 going directly to Ontario with refinement in Ontario. No more of that, hey, we'll refine in the United States and pipe in from them. I also think there'll be one out west. There is a pipeline, or at least an LNG facility that came online this week, I believe, that is now shipping to the eastern part of the world from Western Canada. And like, this is all real good, real great. It's not obviously the best, because this should have happened decades ago, but you know, it's not as bad as it could be. Like, honestly, it could be way worse. And I'm kind of waiting to see if Carney and his team really do say, hey, look, this pipeline, it just got approved 2 weeks before that by-election that appears. And I really want Carney to rip the wind from his sails. I mean, obviously I don't want Carney to get the political win, but like, with how bad the Conservative Party is, they need to be utterly crushed so that they can rebuild as something that is viable, which they are currently not. There's also indications coming out that Carney is making very much a deal with the United States, regardless of all the stupid talk. One such thing is that there is a major defense contract is basically set. Carney defying what he said in the election, which obviously he would. It favors a U.S. supplier, which, again, it's going to, because Carney is going to carry favor with the United States. He's going to, again, try not to have Canada become the 51st state. He's going to, try to remain King of Canada for as long as possible. Because he's in there, he wants the power. He's not the kind of person, at least my read on him, is to subjugate himself from basically king to lowly governor. Because, again, the Prime Minister of Canada has insane degrees of power at this point in time. It's kind of ridiculous how much power they have. Although I do agree with an elected, official having an insane degree of power. The problem is, because, like, if you look at the United States and the structure of the United States, the president is basically the elected king of America, with all the powers they have. Like, you can just look at the pardon power. Like, that's directly comes from what the powers of a king is. But the president is held in check by two other branches of government. You have the legislature, the people who pass and make the laws, and you have the judicial branch, the people who enforce the laws, that say, yes, you can and cannot do this. This is legal. This is illegal. Those people. And of course, you have the secret fourth branch of government, which that nobody really talks about, which is the people. It's a balancing act, and it's really quite good in its adversary nature. I still think it needs tweaks, because the adversary nature over years has broken down from adversarially trying to reach the best conclusion to adversarially trying to destroy the other team. So there's still problems that need to be worked out. In other good news, the provinces are agreeing to slowly break down those interprovincial trade barriers, starting with the greatest thing they could do, which is the liquor. I am happy about this. Maybe I can finally get, again, my favorite whiskey, which is Pendleton. It's distilled in Alberta. imported to Oregon. Finally found out where it actually is imported to. Blended there, bottled, and shipped back to me in Ontario. Maybe, if I'm lucky, I can get a direct supply at a cheaper price. Oh, and hopefully, there's a whiskey, small, I guess you would say boutique whiskey distillery that I went for a tour at, not far from me, called Murphy's Law. They have fantastic selection of whiskeys. It's a it's a corn mash whiskey, so it's basically grain alcohol. Very much in the style of moonshiners, but they also do flavorings that are really, really good. Like, you can get just straight up moonshine if you wanted, like, whatever. That's not that exciting for me as someone who's traveled throughout the United States, who can buy hooch, who can buy that moonshine basically wherever you go. But what they do is they have flavored ones that are extremely well. They have a line of Warhead moonshine, which really sour, just like Warheads, but really good. They also have, if you're from the 90s, they have the greatest flavor on earth, which is blue raspberry, which they fucking nail. They have a chocolate milk that is really good. And I mean really good. Like, if it's, say, wintertime and you want, like, a Irish coffee in the morning, say on the weekend when you're not working, put some of that in there and it's real good. Now, if you don't think chocolate milk and coffee go together, you're wrong. That is how I was drinking coffee for a while before I stopped, because I can't deal with coffee. At a certain point, it was just chocolate milk with a little bit of caffeine in it. I hate coffee. Anyways, hopefully that they could grow their business, because dude, I met the dudes at that. It's a fantastic little outfit there. They use they have a apple pie flavor whiskey, and they use St. Jacob's apples, from literally down the street. Fantastic. So, yeah, basically, the purpose of this video is, we're in that, eye of the storm type scenario where we've gotten battered for the last couple years, and it's like we're just kind of bracing, waiting. Bitcoin's doing and crypto in general is doing a really good run the last couple days. It just, as I checked the price, Bitcoin just hit another all-time high. I am very happy about that. As I said, though, in I think yesterday's video, I don't know if I was talking about Bitcoin specifically, but in that ramp up to September, October timeframe, that beginning of those months, should see a rip, then a little deflation. Hopefully, I can get what I want out of my investments so I can make my timed puts and calls that I want to do, and I'd be in a very good spot. But that's personally good for me. That's really not worth all that talking about. Other than being right. Currencies continue to be slightly destabilized, but that's mostly because of Trump so far. I don't think, the trend isn't, I think, long enough to declare with the dollar, specifically the dollar index, saying that, hey, we're in that now upward swing snapback. That would be quite bad. I'd probably wait another month or so. Oil is slightly down on the day, which is, again, that's always good. Costs coming down. Yeah, it's really hard. There's, especially this week with everybody being extremely upset about what's going on with Epstein and the backlash from that, it's quite interesting to watch. There seems to have been a trap set by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. With Big Pharma, the way he is slowly dealing with vaccines and such. There is now a lawsuit filed against him in his department. I don't think it's his department. I think it's one of the committees in his department. He should win it, because, like, the government tends to win those types of cases very easily. But if I go back to the Epstein stuff, like, the fact that Trump failed to deliver is just gonna put more scrutiny on it. You're already seeing people digging deeper than they already have. And as they dig deeper, they're going to find out some very interesting things, because this at this point, this is a sleeping dog that won't lie. I think James O'Keefe over at OMG Media, he's going to redouble his efforts to get information, which is, if there's anybody that can find something out in the, I guess, truth media space, and I don't mean like truth social, I mean like actual absolute truth. I think it's James. He can definitely find out some good information. I mean, obviously Alex Jones can find some information, but it seems Alex is at the moment doing some hyper-inflammatory ways of speaking. So, not a big fan of that. If I want the truth, I want the news, and just the fucking news. So, anyways, that's the video for today. I think I want the Monday video. I just kind of want to shit on the Alberta separatist movement. Not because I don't like them. It's because they have their high hopes way too fucking high and don't actually understand the position that Alberta is in. Like, they think they can become an actual sovereign country instead of what they would be is just another vassal state to the United States, but very much under their thumb, more than most other vassal states. So, I want to talk about that. I also don't think they have a shot in hell. I'm not saying they should give up. I think they should fucking evaluate and understand what they're up against. I'm not, entirely sure they understand that. So, that'll probably be Monday, and then, probably throw in some macroeconomics, some shenanigans going on, because that's always going on. That, just remember, things could always be worse. We could be going through this calm before the storm with a, full-out war with Iran right now. Or, massive escalations in Ukraine. I mean, kind of from the Russians, but if there's anybody I can trust to escalate in a tactical way, it is the Russians, because they understand they really can't deal with a full-scale war. It does not benefit them in any shape or form, because they would become even more subservient to China in the Russo-Chinese relationship. So, and as a country that wants to remain sovereign, they will do everything they can to stop that. So, again, trying to be positive. Look out. Like, everything could be much, much worse. Until Monday, have a great weekend. See you in whatever actually comes out on Monday.